The following program today has been brought to you by Dollar Shave Club.
Mickey Mouse has been starring in films for a long time. In fact, we're getting close to the 100-year mark. Because of this, the Disney mascot has become one of the most iconic characters of all time. While most of the films starring him are readily available for anybody to watch, that can't be said for one, called Mickey Mouse in Vietnam.
Many laugh at the idea of nightmarish lost episodes of popular cartoons existing, since there are so many creepypasta stories regarding the subject matter. But surprisingly, there are in fact many verifiable claims that are shockingly similar to the infamous tales on the net. As you already know, the one I will be covering today involves the American pop culture icon Mickey Mouse. This internet mystery started a decade ago in 2007. When Disney historian Jim Korkis, under the pseudonym Wade Sampson, wrote an article on the Disney-centric website Mouse Planet, detailing an unlicensed Mickey Mouse short he had seen several years before it was lost to time. It was a 16mm black and white film that had been produced independently in the late 60s, and shown to select audiences during the Vietnam War. It is known as Mickey Mouse in Vietnam. He claimed that this film began with a joyful Mickey Mouse strolling across the screen, sporting his wide, famous smile. He stops in front of a large billboard that proclaims, "Join the army and see the world." Seemingly incapacitated by the offer to travel the globe, he briefly walks off screen and returns donning a helmet and a bayonet rifle. He then boards onto a ship heading to Vietnam, as signs warn viewers of the territory state, Vietnam, War Zone. Mickey exits the ship and embarks into the jungle, before being shot in the head. Mickey falls to the ground as the smile on his face fades away. The shot lingers on the blood oozing from his wound, before ending abruptly. Conveniently enough, Jim couldn't direct anyone on where to go watch this supposed short film of Mickey getting shot in the head, nor did he know of any copies of it surviving. Because of this, many who heard the story were extremely skeptical. It sounded exactly like an urban legend someone would concoct to simply get attention. For obvious reasons, this story picked up a decent amount of attention online, and other blogs began researching the subject. One of these was the Black Wing Diary. While Black Wing Diary's article mostly contained their own general thoughts on the plot synopsis, it inspired a commenter on the post to do some digging. They found that it had supposedly been created for an event called Week of Angry Art. A few months after the initial publication, the author added an update linking to a post containing republished screenshots from 1998's Happy Anniversary Mickey, a French magazine celebrating Mickey Mouse's birthday. With these new findings, people who may have been reluctant to believe the story were now sold. As it turns out, Mickey Mouse in Vietnam was actually titled Short Subject, and was created for the Angry Art Festival of 1967. The festival was a protest event that invited artists to produce representations of their concerns about the war. It was created by Milton Glaser and Lee Savage, who, fun fact, is the father of Adam Savage from the television program Mythbusters. Its creation was obviously a result of the conflict between Vietnam and the United States. During this time in American history, the big thing people were concerned about was the spread of communism into new parts of the earth. People can now look back with 20/20 vision and see how communism ended up failing on its own in most countries, but back then people were afraid what would happen if it wasn't contained. Because of the Vietnam War's scope and nature, many held strong opinions that motivated them to attempt to influence others by using propaganda pieces. And in this case, they decided to put our beloved Mickey Mouse in Vietnam. Milton Glaser has since been quoted as stating that Mickey Mouse is a symbol of innocence, and to have him killed as a soldier is such a contradiction of your expectations. The idea of a Disney cartoon getting involved in a war isn't actually that outrageous of a thought though, when you realize that during World War II they made propaganda movies, including one where Donald Duck is a Nazi that is seen reading Mein Kampf.
Here, improve the mind! Heil Hitler!
As more info emerged, we found that Mickey Mouse in Vietnam won an award from an international short film festival in 1970, before falling into obscurity with the Vietnam War ending in 1975. Everyone appeared to have forgotten about it until that post in 2007, but even with that sparking interest in the cartoon, people were still having trouble finding a copy. It seemed that the search for this piece of anti-war history had hit a dead end. While they were able to prove that it did in fact exist and where it was shown, no one was able to get a hold of a copy. It wouldn't be until a few years later when one site's users would help start the search again. But before we get to that, I'd like to share a brief word from my sponsor, Dollar Shave Club. Do you hate getting cut while shaving with the low-end, cheaply made, and easily broken razors you buy at your local store? If you don't have a quality razor, do you really feel safe putting such a sketchy sharp object up to your face?
There's got to be a better way.
Well, now there is with Dollar Shave Club. Their razors provide a high-quality, close shave for the price of a disposable. Go to www.dollarshaveclub.com/GFM and get your 1-month trial of any razor for $1. That's their best for $1. So again, that's dollarshaveclub.com/GFM to get any of their quality razors for just $1. In 2012, users of 4chan's X-board began growing a general interest in lost media. In many of these archive threads, users posted lists of infamous missing content that they would like to search for next. Mickey Mouse in Vietnam was always a popular candidate, and because of this, many in the community started searching. But it was of course difficult to find anything out. While this short was a hit back in the 60s, many speculated that Disney could have possibly tried to get any copies available in the years since for them to be destroyed. Understandably, they probably weren't too happy about their mascot getting shot in the head. Through their sleuthing though, they did find that there were in fact copies in existence due to festivals having screened the short in 2010. In fact, it was on a reel that was open for rental, which was exciting at first. Then they realized this rental was only available for reputable organizations, not 4chaners. So there they were, they knew that the film still existed and where it was, but they still weren't able to watch it. So close, yet so far. The best they could do was find the screenshots from Happy Birthday Mickey Mouse and attempt to piece them together for what they thought the cartoon was. There weren't any more notable developments in the attempts at relocating the tape. That is, until April of 2013, when Mickey Mouse in Vietnam was unexpectedly found in none other than a college's scrap film bin. Upload to YouTube by Abad Higgins, he archived the short and saved it from being potentially destroyed. Because the original tape was silent, he decided to dub over the film using the song Soldier Side. This has caused some to speculate that when he later removed the video, it may have been due to copyright complaints. Whatever the reason, his upload of the short quickly picked up traction and was covered on numerous news sites. The publicity caught the attention of both Milton Glaser and Adam Savage. In response, BuzzFeed interviewed Glaser regarding the short, and Adam Savage wrote a blog post joyful that it had finally been found. He stated that it had reminded him of his childhood and the time he spent with his father. Adam went on to say, "Milton's people contacted me a few months ago to see if I had any copies of the film, but unfortunately I couldn't locate any, which makes me glad to see it's up on YouTube as I grew up seeing this film and was sad by the prospect that it might be inadvertently lost." In his interview with BuzzFeed, Milton addressed many of the rumors that sprouted leading up to the clip's release. One was that the reason the tape was so obscure was because Disney attempted to obtain and destroy as many prints as possible. Milton's response was this: "There was some talk about Disney suing us, but I think the consequence of that, everybody realized, would have been negative for Disney and would have no benefit. And obviously no profit was made out of the utilization of the character or the film, so nothing ever happened." Although today shocking content is extremely widespread thanks to the internet, at the time Mickey was almost the representation for childhood innocence in America. Thus depicting the iconic character being shot and killed as a result of a war was very resonating and an effective piece of propaganda.
Sure, this wasn't an official Disney creation, but I still feel the story behind this little footnote in animation history was worth being told. Now, instead of finishing this video now, I felt the need to talk about another supposed Mickey Mouse film called SuicideMouse.avi, so let's go watch it.
So do any of you remember those Mickey Mouse cartoons from the 1930s? The ones that were just put out on DVD a few years ago? Well, I hear there was one that was unreleased to even the most avid classic Disney fans. According to sources, it's nothing special, it's just a continuous loop like the Flintstones, of Mickey walking past 6 buildings that go on for 2 or 3 minutes before fading out. The song of this cartoon was not a song at all, just constant banging on a piano for 1.5 minutes before going to white noise for the remainder of the film. It wasn't the jolly old Mickey we've come to love either. Mickey wasn't dancing, not even smiling, just kind of walking as if I were walking, with a normal facial expression. On the 7th minute of this film, a blood-curdling scream appears, and that lasts until 8 minutes and a few seconds in, and then it abruptly cuts out to the Mickey Mouse face that we're used to at the end of these old videos. Whether this movie got online or not is up for debate, but if rumors serve me right, it's online somewhere under suicidemouse.avi. If you ever find a copy of the film, I want you to never view it, and to contact me by phone immediately regardless of the time. When a Disney death is covered up as well as this, it means it has to be something huge.
It's fake.